What's up everyone, Vu of FujiFilms, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. And today I'll continue discussing my transition from using Sony a7 III, a6600, a7R III to using the FujiFilm X-T4. No, I do not have the Fuji Xt4 yet. It is currently in pre-order, but I did purchase a pre-owned FujiFilm Xt3 to use and to get acclimated to the system. And I'm here to share with you the lens selection for the Fuji X mounts that I purchased and I'll be using going forward with the Fuji system. Before I get into that, before all the Sony a7 III Facebook fanboys come at me telling me about how I am switching to a toy camera and Sony is the best and 4K 24 is enough, no one uses 4K 60. Yeah, I mean, everyone has different needs, and I understand that all you do is shoot 4K 24 and you're completely satisfied with 8-bit colors that are coming out of the Sony system, which looks perfectly fine for the most part. But for me, I am looking for additional colors, which is why I want 10-bit. And I am sick and tired of editing 4K footage with 1080 60p footage, because going from 4K to 1080 hurts my eyes. And I want to make sure that all of my footage is shot in 4K, whether it's slow motion or not. So I want the 4K 60 10-bit internal 420 that the Fuji Xt series provides, as well as X-T4 providing really good IBIS, better than Sony IBIS, and overall the better video specs. The funniest part of calling me cheap for going to the Fujifilm Xt3 or the Fujifilm Xt4 and the Xt3 is these same guys who call me cheap are the same ones that buy budget Sony E-mount lenses, such as the Tamron 2875, which is, I guess, perfectly fine if you like to record muddy footage in low light. The only thing more muddy than your Tamron 2875 footage is your draws when you take a look at my Sony lens collection. Anyways, if you didn't like what I just said there, you could go ahead and continue shooting your mediocre work and posting it online for no one to look at. Moving on. So let's discuss what lenses I have purchased for the Fuji system. I'm currently filming this video with the Fujifilm Xt3 along with the 16mm f1.4 Fuji lens. And some of you may have just noticed that there's like a mirror or some type of flippy screen that's on the Fuji Xt3. It doesn't come with the it doesn't come with a flippy screen, obviously, but that's actually a mirror system from Urig that I recently received to review. So if you'd like to know more about it, let me know in the comments below, and I also have a link of it in the description if you are interested. So the other lens I have is a 56mm f1.2 lens, and that is the only Fujifilm lenses that I actually have. The rest are Canon EF mount glass, and I use this adapter here, which is the Fringer EF to FX Pro 2 adapter. It just looks like this. Pretty much you could adapt any EF lens to your Fujifilm camera, and you have full use of autofocus, as if you could use the EF lens as if it's like a Fuji lens. And the lenses I chose is my favorite out of the bunch, and I'll tell you why later. It is this 18 to 35mm f1.8. Also the full frame size 35mm f1.4 and the 50mm f1.4. And some of you may ask, why did I pick the 50mm f1.4 when I already have a 56mm f1.2? I'll explain to you in a second, and it all has to do with autofocus ability. So, as a Sony a7 III shooter, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are also Sony a7 III shooters, you're probably wondering, hey, my a7 III is full frame. When I go to a crop sensor such as the X-T3 and this Sony Alpha 600 right here, how do I get the equivalent look of the full frame sensor when I switch to crop? The answer is simple. You just take the lens focal length and aperture and you multiply it by the crop factor, which in this case for FujiFilm X-T3, X-T4 is 1.5. So if I were to use this 35mm f1.4 as an example, 35 times 1.5 equals roughly 52-ish millimeters, and 1.4 times 1.5 equals 2.1-ish aperture. And I could hear you typing already, you D-bag, know-it-all, mediocre, technical photographers that shoot everything at f10. Oh, crop factor doesn't change the aperture. Of course it doesn't, D-bag. And I am here to tell you that if you want to match the look of a full frame sensor with a given lens focal length, to figure that out, to figure out what lens you want to buy, especially if you're going from full frame to APS-C, it is proper for you to try to match the look. And in that case, my calculations hold true. Multiply the crop factor by the focal length and aperture to get the look that you are trying to achieve with the APS-C sensor, to match the look that you're used to on your full frame, which is even why the FujiFilm created the 56 f1.2, knowing that one of the most popular full frame portrait lenses is an 85mm f1.8 or f1.4, what have you. In this case, the 85mm f1.8. Now guess what happens when you multiply a 56mm by f1.5? You get 84mm f1.8. Shocker of the century, it matches the look of the full frame 85 f1.8. And here's some visual proof. Yes, I understand it is not exact math, because 33mm is actually 51mm, not 50mm, and 2.8 times 1.5 is actually 4.2, and that's a 4.5 example of a photo, but it's close enough. You get the picture. That is what I'm talking about. You want to match the look, you have to multiply both the focal length and the aperture by the crop factor. Oh, what was that noise? That is the noise of my balls hitting the floor. And that is your mom at the door. She's here to pick them up for me. Moving on to more lighthearted things. Of course, lighten up, guys. I kid around. All right. So why did I go with a bunch of Canon mount glasses versus getting Fujifilm glasses? Initially, I did get Fujifilm glass. I got a 23mm f1.4 and a 35mm f1.4 Fujifilm lenses, and I don't like the way they autofocus. The motor is very noisy. It's very clunky. They're slow. And, not as slow as this 56mm, but they were slow. The 56mm does okay, as you'll see in the test that I'm going to show. But I had to get the Canon mount because for some reason, especially the 50mm Sigma and the 18 and 35mm Sigma, they focus really quick, very accurate, and they're like the closest in terms of like focusing as I can get to what I'm used to on my Sony glass and my Sony bodies. It's just smoother, it's fast, it's accurate, and it tracks really well. And I'm really amazed by this Fringer EF FX Pro 2 adapter. And it's funny because somehow I was about to throw up in my mouth, realizing that I was gonna have to buy Canon glass, but somehow I still avoided to buy Canon glass. I actually bought Sigma glass. It just has a Canon mount on it. But yeah, if you are looking to switch over to Fujifilm for your video work, I highly recommend getting this Fringer EF to FX Pro 2 mount. It works really well and it's built really well. I have no complaints about this mount. The only downside is obviously the sizes of these lenses. Like this is a 56mm f1.2 and this is a 50mm f1.4. There's a huge size difference. So if you're trying to look to keep your Fujifilm camera compact, as it's kind of like designed to be, you're gonna have to get Fuji glass, and you're gonna have to just deal with like the slower autofocusing features. I'm spoiled. I've been shooting Sony since 2014. I started my filmmaking career using Sony, and I've gotten used to using the autofocus. I know it's like tendencies of how it works, and that's what I'm used to. So I rely pretty heavily on autofocus for my filmmaking. So I really prefer not to manual focus unless I really, really have to. And that's why autofocus is important to me. So let's go ahead and move over to the autofocusing test of these lenses just to show you what I'm talking about. Much thanks to my buddy Say Park. Some of you may know him from his YouTube channel, Say Park. Highly recommend you visit his channel and subscribe to it. He actually did, during that same time, he did like a torture test pretty much. Real world filming use of the Fuji Xt3 like we have here with the 16mm f1.4. He really pushed it to his limit. He did a lot of like crazy B-rolls and stuff. So that video should be coming soon. I'll link to it as soon as I have it. But for now, visit his channel. He recently posted a video regarding the future of gimbals in the market, and I took a part in that. So definitely, here's a link to the video. Definitely check out Say Park's channel. Here is the lens focusing test. Fuji 16mm f1.4 locked onto the eye, kind of pumping a little bit. Go back. Oh, there we go. Okay, Korean pop star right here, Say Park. All right, come forward. Here he is again. This is a challenging test. You got a flare coming through the side, and done.
Is that a good test?
Good test.
Good content?
It's good content.
Let's go.
56mm f1.2 at f1.4. Oh, actually did pretty well for about 5 seconds. Go back. This is once again Say Park, Korean pop star, G Master, Gimbal Master right here. Visit his channel, like and subscribe.
That's probably wrong.
Oh my gosh, that's a North Korean march. Alright, test on the Sigma 18-35 adapted with the Fringer Pro 2 adapter. Alright, go ahead man, let's take a walk. Oh wow, that's definitely Korean pop star. 18mm f1.8. Locked in, doing a good job tracking. Alright, come back. f1.8, 18mm on the 18-35 Canon mount. Alright, stop there. We're on the 18-35 Canon EF Sigma lens, f1.8 at 24mm. Have at it, start walking. Fringer Pro 2 adapter. It's doing a good job, it's doing a good job. Alright, one more walk. Hit find the eye in the face. Stop. Alright, nice. Sweet.
Is that good? In like 10 takes.
Well, I mean, I'm just letting it operate normally. Let's go back. Same lens, 18-35 f1.8. Walk forward. Eye detect on.
You see me?
Stop there. Start going back again. 18-35 on the Fringer adapter. And one more coming forward.
Fringer. Don't put that.
Alright, stop. Alright, good. That's good. Yeah, this. Okay, never mind. Alright, so this is the Sigma 50mm f1.4 on the Fringer Pro 2 adapter. Canon EF lens, Sigma 50 f1.4. Alright, action. Look at this YouTube D-bag of the century. Alright, stop. You're going too far.
Oh shit, sorry.
Alright, sorry. Keep going back. Alright, found you. Yeah, keep going. This is already performing better than the 56 f1.4 at f1.4. 50mm f1.4 Sigma EF mount on Fringer Pro 2 adapter. Track autofocusing, Say Park. Oh, he found something. He might. Oh, is that Kimchi over there? Oh, walking around with this coronavirus. All right, we're good. Wider lens, so you can come up a little bit. All right. So we're now on a 35mm f1.4 Sigma EF mount lens for Canon on the Fringer adapter. Fringer Pro 2. All right, start backing up.
All right.
Yeah, this one is definitely not as good, but we already know this 35 for Canon is not good at all. Well, not good. It's not the best. Autofocusing lens, so keep coming. All right. Struggling. Wow, this is really bad.
Really?
Yeah, it's not doing too well. Oh yeah, it's struggling. Come forward again. Come forward.
Yeah, this one's. Okay, it found you. Step back slowly.
Really? Wow.
I mean, it's okay now. I think you can't walk that fast. Walk a little bit slower.
Yeah, because I think I did about that speed for everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, it did fine now. I think for some reason, those other ones.
Overall, the conclusion I got from the focusing test was obviously the 56mm f1.2 is really bad at focusing. The 16mm is decent, and unfortunately I'd already returned the 23 and 35mm f1.4 lenses, but I would say that the 23 and the 35 is somewhere in between how the 85 and the 16mm focuses. It's not great in my opinion. My favorite of all is 18 to 35. It focuses smoothly, it's accurate, it's fast, it tracks really well, and it just, versatile lens, just looks great. I think this is a perfect lens for any FujiFilm shooter, as it has a good weight to it, especially if you're doing professional work and you want to do handheld work, especially with the new amazing IBIS that the X-T4 is advertised to have, and from based on the reviews I've seen, it looks really good. It's really good, you know, if you want to do handheld run and gun shooting. This would definitely be my go-to lens as a Fujifilm video shooter. And my next favorite is the 50mm f1.4, as it also focuses really quick. F1.4, it has great, you know, bokeh, it has a great look to it. It's overall amazing lens, great build quality. This is highly recommended. 35mm, it is not as good as autofocus as you saw, but in terms of like slower tracking, it does pretty well. Initial focusing, it does pretty well. I recommend this lens if you're looking for like a solid 50 at f1.4 for low light use. But I think for most of the time, if I want to use 35mm range, I'll probably just stick to the 18 to 35mm. So yeah, that is the lens collection that I'm gonna be going into with X-T3 system as well as X-T4 when I get it. And you know, I'm going to definitely run it through its paces when I'm doing my video work. I'm gonna be shooting weddings with it, corporate work. I'll be doing a lot of stuff with it, so hey, stay tuned for those guys. But you know, I did also have the opportunity to kind of like really put this 18 to 35 through its test, as I filmed my daughter while she's playing at the playground. And as you know, toddlers, they run around really quick, they're hard to keep track of. So if the camera and a lens autofocusing is able to keep up with them, it should keep up with most situations, in my opinion. So here's going to play a clip of that, guys. And hey, until next time, lighten up.